The 1,000
goods on sale.
Okay, viewers, thank you for joining us, and we apologize for the little delay on the, we weren't able to start on time as we normally do. Again, it's the Business X-Ray Show. I am Charles Boji, your host, and as usual, we have the resident coach. Charles, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and always delighted to be here in the afternoon of Sundays.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, today we're tackling a very, very important topic, and that is the issue of managing associations and focusing them towards a business vision or a business goal. We all know, some call it group dynamics, Charles.
Yes. We
know how tough it is to actually mobilize a group and focus it to a particular objective or mission. Now, if you notice, in our past, I think 2 shows, this is the 3rd, we've paid special attention to that particular area because we understand that Ugandans, as a country, we seem to have a challenge in that particular area, especially when it comes to mobilizing people.
Yes.
And putting them together towards a particular vision. In fact, some people start well, Charles.
Yes.
And then along the way, especially when money comes in the
picture, then
all hell breaks loose.
True. And when you trace where it all started, it could have started right from some bit of being less detailed in the documentation of the story.
Yes.
Then somebody says, do you remember that actually it was me who started all the story?
Yes.
I should be rewarded more.
Yes, yes.
You lose out in those beginning issues. They manifest later.
Exactly. And that's why it's very, very important not to leave any gray areas when you're dealing with others. You can afford to be unstructured when you're alone.
Yes.
But if you're a group, it becomes a bit, you don't have that luxury. Because at the end of the day, or later, you're going to pay dearly for that. So we're going to have a montage of this particular group. We traveled all the way to West Nile to actually pick the story of this group that has existed, for quite some time.
Correct.
And like we always say, this show is based on the experiences of people that are actually doing it. So I want to see who they are and how they've been able to do that, so that we pick the discussions and key learnings from that.
Yes.
I'm going to ask and request my producer right now to play for us that montage of this group so that we set the discussion, the ball rolling.
Very good.
Gobo is my name. I work as the coordinator for the District Farmers Association of Maracha. This association started in 2011 when the farmers in the district came together to conduct elections to elect their leaders. Farmers conducted elections from parish level and then to sub-county level and then to the district level. After electing the executive at the district level, the farmers decided to set a secretariat and asked the government to give them an office. The government was not having any ready building as an office for the Farmers Association. However, the district went ahead and allocated a structure which they took back shortly. After which they allocated a wall for the Farmers Association and said if we can roof it as an office, it is okay. The Farmers Association had no source of income apart from members contributing membership fees and subscription fees. And this was too small that it can't build an office for the farmers. So the Farmers Association started going into business opportunities. We started looking at the opportunity of vaccinating chicken for our members. The Farmers Association used the small money from membership to buy vaccine at 100 shillings per bird. From vaccination of chicken, this was going on well. The challenge was the Farmers Association did not have fridge for storing the vaccines. So that was the challenge with that business. However, the Farmers Association went ahead and got into partnership with exporters of African birdie chili, where the staff of the Farmers Association went ahead to mobilize farmers to grow chili. When the chili was ready, they started buying and delivering to the exporters at a commission. That same year, the Farmers Association made over 140 million. And that year, over 600 million went to its members' pockets. From there, this profit that was made that year was used for acquiring land for the Farmers Association. This was used for acquiring motorcycles, which are still there up to now, which the staff are still using. A lot of assets were put, office furniture were acquired, computers were acquired. After that, the price of chili also went down. That was a challenge with that business. Then from there, the Farmers Association continued to produce tree seedlings for sale. However, this production of tree seedlings had started as an idea to support environment. The first seedlings were given free to the farmers, but the Farmers Association realized that this is not sustainable. They should sell it. So from there, the Farmers Association continued to produce tree seedlings for sale to the members. This has gone for over 8 years now. It has been sustaining the office a lot. In 2017, we also implemented some project with the ISSD, where the Farmers Association was coordinating farmer groups to produce seeds. This was a project that was in total 68 million that year. That was the first project that the Farmers Association implemented with the donors. The Farmers Association also opened an agro-input shop at the Maracha Town Council. As we are talking now, the Farmers Agro-Input Shop is going ahead. It provides quality agro-inputs to the farmers at an affordable price. From 2020, the Farmers Association got a project with FAO. This was an environment-related project, but supporting women's livelihood activities. And in that, the Farmers Association also used its network with the groups to start a kind of microfinance to support the farmer groups in their farming activities. You want to acquire seeds, you come to the Farmers Association, you want to open land, you first come and borrow some money and continue paying back. So it's actually already helping the farmer groups, but at the same time, it is sustaining the Farmers Association because you pick the money at an interest. We also initiated the local chicken project using a simple hatchery that uses just battery when there's no power. We have hatched eggs twice. We have a breeding stock for local chicken. They receive treatment, they are vaccinated. We also acquired funds from agriculture cluster. From agriculture cluster, we have managed to put a grinding mill. We have managed to put an office space with a showroom. However, our plan is to make this place a food purchasing center in the district. Food will be moved from members within the district. At the same time, food will be moved from other districts to this destination, to our place, where people can acquire it at an affordable price. And when the quality is already checked, we intend to put the machines that we have acquired from agriculture cluster in full use. We plan to have a farmer's guest house in the district that will serve. We want to make it at a standard that will host people of a certain class. For such a system to grow, one, integrity is very important. Honesty and trust are very important. And then we have a board that listens to technical people. In such a system, technical people always have a way forward. But if you have a board that is not supporting it, then however technical you are, the system cannot grow. Over the years, we have been experiencing a number of challenges. First of all, when we started, the partners we tried to work with, they could not trust us. They were doubting us because they didn't know whom we are. They didn't know how we can manage finances because we had no experience to show them that we have ever managed cash like this, like this, like this. However, in everything you do, you as a leader, your personal characteristics can either affect you negatively or positively. People can trust you from your characters. From not trusting us and then trusting us with any other activities, we try to demonstrate practically that we have the integrity. That's why partners started giving us a try. And whatever opportunity we got, we'll do it seriously and produce the result they want. That's how we are fighting the challenge of trust. We have like 11 staff, including those working at the nursery sites, or others are working at the agro-input shop, and others are implementing the FAO project, and so on. When we get market for a particular crop, the people who are recruited to participate, first of all, we start with our members.
My name is Vincent. I'm a member of the Farmers Association. From the Farmers Association, first of all, I got trainings, good agronomic trainings on farming. Then from the farming, after getting the product, I sell them. Then after selling them, as of now, I have enrolled to the university. I'm now studying at Uganda Matters University, again studying Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. And as I talk now, I'm a role model in nursery management. So I have my own nursery, which I'm managing, and I supply coffee seedlings to UCDA. And at least in a year, I'm able to get 15 million.
Thank you very much, viewers, and welcome back. Of course, that's the story of Dennis Kobo. Dennis Kobo is, as you've seen in that montage, he heads the Maracha Farmers District Association. And today, again, just to jog your mind, viewers again, we are looking at the dynamics of managing associations at the grassroots to focus them to a particular business objective, goal, or mission. Now, from that story, Charles, I'm quite sure that there's a lot that is quite loaded, and we're going to actually take a bit of time to unpack, you know, some of the key issues that have been raised. And if you notice, and if you're watching keenly, you'd see that Dennis broke down some of the key ingredients that are needed for an association to survive as a business. Remember, what brought them together is business. Now the rest of you know, the benefits and dividends start to happen. Now we've been joined in the studio as well to actually look at this particular issue, because it's very, very important. You can't discuss farmers really without, you know, someone from the ministry.
Correct.
To actually give us, you know, good grounding and a proper understanding, a 360-degree, you know, picture of the particular subject that we are talking about. Yes, it's business, but it sits within agriculture. Fred, you're most welcome to the show. Just greet our viewers, and then we get this going.
Oh, thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers. Glad to be here to listen and share views this afternoon. Thank you.
That's Fred. Fred works with the Ministry of Agriculture, and is going to actually help us, you know, put a few things here and there in context. But Charles, before we go to the show, I don't know what touched your, and I'm talking about the topic for the day, what touched your heart, nerve this week?
This week, I think one of the touching stories was the story about the number of schools that are going to close because of, one, loans that they couldn't pay. Two, the reduction in revenues of school fees as high as 70% that couldn't be collected. And a number of schools are even saying, Ministry of Education, you've given us a timetable to close on the 12th of August. We're going to close 2 weeks earlier. So some are beginning to close today, some are closing early in the week, others are closing by Friday, way before the actual date of closing. It speaks to the tough environment we're in now. And that's why I feel Ugandans need to make sure that this Sunday show is a must attend. Because the lessons you pick from here are lessons that are transferable to whichever sector. Today we are talking of Farmers Association. But the lessons that are going to come out of here, they are going to be applicable to PDM. They are going to be applicable to the circles all over the country, because most circles have got an economic activity that brings them together. Yeah. And I'm so delighted because the Ministry of Agriculture has been running a program called Agricultural Cluster Development Program. And this program is supported jointly by the government of Uganda and the World Bank. And all the elements that we want to see in functional groups in PDM have to a great extent been experienced by the ACDP project. So it's such an exciting afternoon. It's good for us to learn from the Maracha story. It's also going to be good for us to use the lessons therein to inform church associations, public associations like the PDM groups that are going to be formed, and all other associations that have existed before, because this story has got all the elements that you must go through from the beginning. Because see their beginning, they say, let's first do elections. Yeah. Let's do elections. Somebody must be selected by the members. Don't just say, form a group, now you are the member, you are the chairman, you are the treasurer. No, let's subject people to elections. Yeah. If you think that one is enough job done, there are more issues coming ahead. And as we will be unpacking the issues that really came through, you'll discover that forming an association, registering it, is probably the easier part. Yeah. The real work begins to happen after you have picked that registration certificate. Because the market is not going to buy from you because you have a paper. They are going to buy from you because, as you saw from the story, they had African red bud chili to sell. And there was a market. So by the time the farmers were told, please get into this business, it was not a matter of just saying, you form an association, we will talk about the market later. Sort out the entire store up to the consumer. And the consumer, as I said, will not be asking for your registration certificate. They will be first saying, what's the quality of the chili? Does it meet our expectations? Two, are you aware you are not the only one supplying the chili? We can go to another one and leave you with all your chili because we don't want it. It doesn't compete. So there are a lot of things I believe that we will be unpacking. Yes. And seated in our midst is a gentleman who has watched farmers across, is it 58 districts?
57, yes.
57 districts.
And many more that we work with as a ministry.
Exactly. So you will give us a bit of a background on how these associations came to be part of the project. But believe me, this afternoon we have something interesting, because this story here has got all it takes to build from a rugged beginning to now when you are having, they're having their own motorcycles, they're having their tractors, they have gotten a milling plant. They are now saying we will begin to mill products and sell them beyond Maracha district.
They've diversified their portfolio.
They are seeing beyond the boundary of Maracha.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Charles, and I think we'll get back to that particular point, because since this is a learning show, or engagement or interface, just at the stage of forming an association, what do we need? What, of course, based on the Maracha story, but then also, you know, professionally, how should an association come to be? Of course, it's good we have Fred. Fred has worked with a number of them across the country. But before I go in, I'll give Fred, you know, a chance to really break the ice about what you do and the kind of engagement you're having with the farmers across the country.
Okay. Answering the question you are putting across about how we identify this organization. Yes, thank you very much, moderator, and good afternoon, viewers. Frederick Mhanguzi is my name. I work with the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and I work with the project at hand, the Agricultural Cluster Development Project. The Agricultural Cluster Development Project operates in the 57 districts, and it's a project of the government, operationalized by the government of Uganda, but funded with funding from the World Bank. And therefore, it is operationalized through the Ministry of Agriculture, but we work with key stakeholders across, the major stakeholder being our district local governments. And therefore, the project is implemented by the 57 district local governments, where the major goal is to improve productivity, production, and the marketable volumes of the 5 commodities. The ministry is promoting more than 13 commodities, crop commodities in the country, but this particular project is looking at the 5 commodities. In the 12 zones, which we call clusters, based on the specific characteristics and specific preferences, and the commonalities in those areas. So we have 12 clusters. I will not mention them, but they cut across across the country. And in working with these farmers, we appreciate that farmers work together when they are in groups, they are in associations. And therefore, this project works with about 30,000 farmer groups. But we appreciate that these farmer groups should grow stronger and be stronger. And over time, the Ministry of Agriculture has made not only efforts in this agricultural cluster development project, but there have been ongoing efforts by other key agencies and stakeholders of the ministry.
Maybe on that, Fred, as you were to go on that, the issue of farmers coming together and working together. To a viewer watching, I know, Ugandans sometimes like to operate as individuals. Someone would say, I have enough capital, I have enough resources, I can stand alone.
Yes.
Where are you coming from, actually, in wanting these farmers to operate as groups? Why is it important?
It's important to work as a group because you realize that all the efforts that the government does, it does so with limited resources. It does so with limited resources in a way that if you don't have people organized, first of all, these people must have a common bond. They must identify themselves that we are together, we have a common bond. Once you have a common bond, then you're able to define what the kind of business you must do with these farmers. Not doing one enterprise here with one individual, one enterprise here with one individual. So you realize that in a certain locality, you have farmers who are doing cassava. And therefore you design your program based on the targets and populations within that, and based on their past experiences and their projections of what they are able to deliver in the future. And therefore, when you design a project based on the experiences of the people in that particular cluster, based on what they are doing best, you are likely to score successes in those particular areas. So for us to be able to deliver with limited resources, we must have these people organized. And when they are organized, they share ideas together and they work together. They are a brother's keeper to each other. And therefore, they use government resources easily. They monitor themselves, they move together, they learn from one another, they appreciate one another. And in terms of leave alone bringing resources or inputs to them, making it easier to deliver inputs to them, even what they grow on the gardens, what they harvest should be in quantities enough to attract the market.
The kind of support.
So when you have one farmer here, you have the farmer there, so they are easily exploited by the middlemen, and they never attract the market. So when you have enough organization to pool the resource, which resource is now the quantity, the produce that they want to put on market, then it becomes much easier for the buyer, it becomes much easier for the banker to come to them, it becomes much easier the one is selling insurance, even to my brother which is here, delivering to, he stands to grow organizations. You can't, he's not standing to grow individuals. The power of growth, the power of growing the economy is in groups that are organized.
Beautiful. Now, before I bring Charles back, of course, Fred, this show is watched by business people.
Yes.
We have many farmers watching, but these are farmers with a business pair of eyes. They're looking for opportunity. And I'm sure many are wondering, with this program, how do we position ourselves to benefit? What does it take, you know, for a viewer watching us? Maybe he's a farmer from Luwero or Kabale or Soroti. How do they, you know, how can they, you know, as groups and that kind of thing, position themselves to actually benefit from this program? What does it take?
Of course, positioning now comes with where are we?
Okay.
Because you can't benefit when government is not available, when it does not have a program for you. We are operating in the 12 clusters, and therefore 57 districts.
Okay.
We have cluster 1, the Masaka cluster, with the 5 districts. I don't know whether I have time to mention them.
No, you can mention them.
But we operate in Mpigi, in Rakai, in Chotera, Masaka, Karungu.
Okay.
That's that cluster.
Okay.
Then cluster 2, we go to the cluster of Busoga, where we have Namutumba, Bugweri, Iganga, and then Wujiri. Those are 4 districts. Then we have cluster 3, where we have, as we move towards the Mbari. We have Parisa, we have Tororo, we have Utebo, and then we have Butareja. Then the other cluster of cluster 4, we have Kapchorwa, we have Buko, then we have this other one, Mbari. Then we move to cluster 6 now in Teso, where we have Serere, Kumi, and Soroti.
Okay.
Then we move to cluster 6 north, where we have Guru, we have Noya, we have Omoro, and then we have Amuru.
Okay.
Then we go to cluster 7 here in Achori, where we is it Lango? I think Lango now, where we have Rira, we have Kwania, we have Dokoro, we have Kore, we have Apache.
You see how the man sings his numbers.
We have Apache, and then we have
indeed.
Kore. Then you move to now cluster 9.
Yeah.
This is now this far central and Bunyoro, part of Bunyoro, where we have Chebare, we have Kagadi, we have Chenjojo, Chegegwa, Muvende, Kasanda here, then Kakumiro, and Chebare. Then now with the cluster 10, we move back towards Karuma, where the Bunyoro region, where we have Masindi, Chiriandongo, Chukuru, and Hoima. Then we go to cluster 11, where we move now far west, southwestern Uganda. And in southwestern Uganda, we have Ntungamo, the 3 districts of Kabare, then that is Kabare, Ruchega, and Rwanda. Then we come to Isinjiro, and then Ushe. Those are the ones we have. But I left cluster 8 here, where of the Rwenzoris, where we have Kamwenge, Chitagwenda, Kasese, Winyangabu, and Kabarore. Then the last very cluster is cluster 12, where we operate in the other region of Arua.
West Nile.
And that's where these people come from, the Maracha.
The Maracha people. So we start with Fa Maracha, then Yumbe, Arua, the new district of Madioko, Pakwach, and then Nebi. Nebi is our pilot.
Charles, the man has a photograph.
That means
completely it is all is in the fingers like
that means any person, any farmer who is in those regions gets to know what we are doing.
What you're doing.
Yes. And I didn't say the crops, each cluster has
a particular crop.
Has a particular crop.
Amongst the 5,
coffee, maize. Cluster 2, maize purely here. Then and some rice in Busoga.
Okay.
Cluster 3, rice and some maize, then some cassava. Cluster 4, purely coffee and maize. Cluster 5, cassava, rice. Cluster 6, we do rice and beans.
Okay.
Then the cluster of 7, that is the Lango cluster. That one we opened. They are doing almost all the 5 commodities. That is a cluster that is multi enterprise. So we do all the 12. Then we do cluster 9. We do beans and coffee and maize. Then cluster 10, maize, steel, and beans. And coffee, that is Chiliandongo. Then the cluster 11, beans and coffee. And they are doing wonders in that much of it has been banana and coffee and cattle. They are doing wonders in beans. Then now, cluster 12, we do cassava and some coffee in Zombo, those areas of Nebi. So that means, given that I've told you what the crops enterprise we promote and where we are, the larger part, the rest of the districts in the country can do any other. But for agricultural cluster development projects, for now, that's where we are and that's where we've been delivering our services in the 5 commodities across the value chain.
And what are these services exactly?
Our services are, I would say, the project is in 4 components.
Okay.
It was structured in 4 components, but I will talk about 3 that are quite relevant to farmers. Under increasing production and productivity, we have a sub-component, a component on intensification on-farm production. Intensifying on-farm production means go on farm, scale up, and use inputs and do. And under that one, we have 2 sub-components, and one of the sub-components is about delivery of inputs to the farmers. Delivery of subsidized, government is subsidizing agricultural inputs.
And here
to
we're
the
talking
farmer.
about
Previously, we had the free inputs, and we are giving these inputs throughout the programs we've had, and we are still delivering these inputs. But here, the government of Uganda said, faced with the challenges we are having in terms of delivering these inputs. First of all, the cost of input, they are free inputs, but reaching to the farmer, some things happen. What we call corruption. The human interface. You want to deliver a goat to the farmer, but the goat does not reach there. You deliver 5 kilograms, only 2 kilograms reach there. So we said now we really need to remove the human interface and bring in the system to the satisfaction of the one who delivers and the satisfaction of one who is receiving. So if there is going to be any cheating, then it must happen with the farmer's consent. He must accept to be cheated. And exactly this is what we are delivering under the subsidy program that we are targeting to. We have been giving targeting 450 households. Those are the 30,000 farmer groups. They are about 3,000 rural producer organizations who are now structured into 300 area cooperative enterprise that my brother here has been supporting the ministry to build the agribusiness capacity and make sure that they are strong entities that will provide service to the smaller groups and provide the organization that they need.
Beautiful. You can hold it there a bit. I want to come to you, Charles, because viewers, of course, we now understand that if you're to benefit from government programs, you can't benefit as an individual. And I think that's the message that Fred is bringing out clearly. Of course, today we're talking about PDM. We're talking about also the cluster program.
Yes.
And I'm sure if you also to attract, key partners. We've seen from the story of Maracha, they're working with folllow and other entities. Again, it becomes extremely hard to actually do that as an individual. Now, let's go to the group. Forming an association. And this is where I want to pick your mind, Charles, as an expert in this area.
Correct.
What do I need to know as a farmer, as a business person, and I want to form an association? Where do I begin? What should be the things, the boxes that should be ticked at that particular moment? Interesting.
First of all, to do business, you don't need to do it with another person. You can plant your chili and take it to the market as an individual. By the time you bring a party, another party to join you, there must be value addition. And Fred has underscored one of those, or a set of those. In other words, when you are a single operator of a business, decision making is just overnight. Tomorrow I'm going to plant chili. I don't have to ask anybody, and I'm not going to get anybody's endorsement. No elections. Just wake up, go and plant. The benefit of getting into a group is what he underscored. One, you begin to become more visible when you're all doing similar activity. Where they were seeing 3 bags of red chili, now they are seeing 200 of them. The message on the radio will be, if you want chili, go to a certain village in Maracha. What goes there? It's not a bicycle. It's a truck to lift 200 bags of chili. So that benefit comes with a price. But that's benefit number 1. Benefit number 2 is again what he underscored. When you come in as a group, there is a way your voice, when you speak about certain challenges, somebody somewhere will say, that group there, if I worked with them, my resource intervention will go a long way, as opposed to dealing with just one person. In other words, any Ugandan or any group of individuals trying to go into group farming must recognize that the benefits that will accrue go way beyond government intervention. And they need to appreciate that from the onset. What government is doing is simply to catalyze your opportunity to become visible. When you become visible, Danida, as you heard from the Maracha story, will come and say, we have resources, but those resources are coming from taxpayers' money in the Netherlands, in Denmark. And for us to make a case for that, the Parliament of Denmark will require the impact story. Who qualifies immediately? It's somebody a bit more organized. So you being organized has got more rewards that are embedded for the long term. It's more like saying what God put when he was talking about the story of the talents. He said, whoever managed to make 2 to become 4, I'm going to give you more. Whoever managed to make 5 to become 10, I'm going to give you more. Because your abilities have grown. So what this means, therefore, is that pay the price of becoming a group. And the price of becoming a group goes beyond registration, goes beyond elections. These fellows here did registration. They did elections. They had to form another layer in there called a secretariat that will work on behalf of the members. Members have a vision. You asked some of the elements that form a group. One of them is a united vision. And that vision must flow in the blood of the members. It is not imposed by some external party. I know people who are going for PDM will say, government has said this, government has, forget the word government. Just say, we have said this and government is supporting us. We have said this and government is supporting us. If you don't change that language, if your group lasts, good luck. United vision. Members buying into it fully, then they pay the subscription fees. I know politically sometimes when you tell members of police, your association should have a bit of subscription and fees, then you start saying, oh no, but these are the poorest of the poorest. If you want people for donations, keep them aside and donate. Do not mix business journey with the easy route to things. There is no easiness in the business arena. Because in the business arena, we buy solutions. We do not buy to sympathize with somebody. Sorry, you can't take your child to school. Let me buy you bad pumpkins. Never. I'd rather give you 1,000 without taking the bad pumpkins. A donation. But next time, I don't want to pass your route again because I'm looking for pumpkins. So united vision, ability to make the vision begin to come to light. You have this vision of red chilies. It doesn't just happen. Somebody must make sure that the seeds are delivered on time. The farmers are told about the agronomy of red chili. The farmers must be told about the standards and quality of the market. Somebody must then begin to discuss pricing with the market. All these elements I'm talking about, there has to be a secretariat. Now, in the beginning, Maracha Farmers Association did those elements with a bit of charity members of the association. It doesn't take long before volunteer approach to running a secretariat collapses. They went through that route, they discovered this secretariat was no longer adding value. So they had to quickly start saying, what do we quickly start doing so that we start paying the secretariat and individuals begin to become accountable. In other words, you have now formed a secretariat to address the needs of the association. But to make them work, they must be accountable. Now you can't push them to be accountable when you can't even give them transport. So what they did, they looked for low-hanging fruits. You heard them saying, why don't we start vaccinating chicken? There's Newcastle everywhere. And vaccinating one chicken is 100 shillings. And bang, the secretariat started generating income. With that income, they began to have a bit of life. So I just wanted to bring those early elements, but then of course...
quite important. Yes, Fred, you want to add something?
Yes, in addition to what he's doing, the ministry together with the Enterprise Uganda and these business development providers, business developers, we as a ministry, we've come up with modules strong modules for the different categories of groups. So we appreciate that the groups in the communities are not there. Previously, they were not there. Even those which were there, they were weak, limping. They were formed opportunistically. And with the government program, you really need to have to focus them. So we categorize our groups.
Categorize them. And I think that's what Charles is talking about. It has to be. I think first and foremost, you need to have that vision clear and what you want to achieve. But again, talking about, because we've seen quite, and this happens a lot, sometimes with government programs, but then also with donor funding, where you're seeing groups, especially when money comes in the picture, you know, you see some people, for lack of a better word, starting to speak in tongues, doing this and that, certain things not adding up. From the story we saw, the montage from Maracha Farmers Association, you can clearly see the structuring of the entire body. I like the idea that they have a board.
Exactly.
Now, most people and most associations and actually business people, they think boards are for big entities. Big companies, big organizations. I don't know. I want you gentlemen to speak to that as well. Because especially as we go into, again, we are opening a chapter into another government program. And I mean, it's just a matter of collecting people here and there, and then they go and that kind of thing. Why is it important? Because we're going step by step to try and understand, one, why the association is important, that we've tackled, but how should it look like? Why is the board important at that level?
Yes, we have the categories of organizations like the Marachas that have represent so many other groups in the communities. When you look at Maracha, it could be a formulation of so many other groups. And the moment you are accountable to so many other groups, that means even the governance must change. And therefore, for this governance must change, you must have guidelines, the constitution like is talking about. But then they must receive those, that means you must receive these trainings. You must receive, you must be focused, and therefore you must come with a business that you're doing, a business plan to guide you. So in implementing this business plan or having an organization, you must have a board of people, a board of directors that are accountable to the members. And this is very common. Even in small associations, we have the board, a group of 15, 10, you find a board, we have the chairman, we have the secretary, we have the treasurer, we have, and this is the simplest in all most of the organizations. But now to move a notch higher, to be able to really mean business and do the services, we do what he promotes. Have a board, have the management, the human resource, and be able to, there is what we call the agency, we call it this agency problem, there's somewhere that we call it, where the interests of the manager might override the interests of the board. And therefore here, the role of the board is to really follow up for a growing organization. It's not that you are the board, you will do everything. You will do everything, you will train farmers, you will get the inputs, you will do market linkages, you will do financial linkages and all the like. You are board, you do the vision, you receive reports and acts and guide policy, you develop policies and guide the implementers. Now that means for an organization, an entity to stand strong, you must have an independent board, which comes in from time to time. Then you must have these ones who run the day-to-day business of the organizations. This is a manager who has a team. So back in our farmer organizations, this is what we are seeing challenging most of the organizations. They are still young. You find the board is still mixed up. The chairman, the treasurer is the accountant. He has not heard of a balance sheet. He has not had, even if he had, is the person who came from the garden, and his technical know-how is the garden bit, is the whole. I hear you. And he has been doing a lot to make these farmers change their mindset, understand that you have grown. You've managing 2 million, 1 million. Now you've moved to 300 million. 1 billion shillings like some of these organizations.
Yes.
That means this is where you appreciate now that you want people day to day who can think and promote you. If you are a farmer digging, that means you have a meeting in Mombasa. You are now at that level. Where level you are attend in Washington. That means you will not run there with your hoe.
Absolutely.
You can move alongside.
They can even make you among the keynote speakers.
Yes, keynote speakers. So the moment you become visible, now the challenges of visibility come in. You are an organization, visibility coming, and visibility requires that you position a team that is going to speak for you.
I like the Maracha people because you can clearly see that one of the gentlemen who came in the video.
Yeah.
You know, he has been taken back to UCU. Is it UCU?
Yes.
You know, to upgrade education and that kind of thing. Quite relevant. And I think viewers is quite important. You can start where you are, but don't stay where you are.
That's
right.
True.
Very correct. Very true. Yes. I just want to underscore the very points that Fred has underscored about the power of having a good board. One of those things that has created businesses that stagnate is failure to have goals and keep stretching them. When you are an individual, there's a way you quickly begin to just relate to where you came from, and you begin to start saying, you know what, I started with 2 goats, now I have 40. Surely in the neighborhood, I'm the best. With a board, they will be saying, last year we had 40, this year where are we going? Last year we supplied within Maracha, and there was an order from Arua. What are we doing about that order? It keeps stretching you and stretching you and stretching you. These fellows have been stretched from, you know, when they couldn't even pay salaries. The first effort they achieved with the vaccination of income from vaccination was to buy 3 bicycles. Later, when they reached the Chile, they now got motorcycles. And as you could now see in there, they're having a tractor. They're having a milling plant through the support of the project, and they're beginning to see way beyond Arua, way beyond West Nile. That is the power of a functional board. It must, one, set those challenging goals, what we call strategic goals. It must monitor the achievement. It must take into account that even when they are being achieved, resources are properly utilized by introducing auditing function. When we talk about such a thing, people say, oh, there they go again, bringing this theoretical thing of an audit in the village. It is easy to get affordable auditing services, even for the lowest of the lowest. You don't necessarily have to go and say, this should be a certified accountant approved by the Auditing Association of Uganda. There are people who can audit your records. And they have just done a diploma in accounting. Give them the terms of reference. You will be amazed what you can get out of that. But that third or that independent view is useful for the board, for them to be able to converse competently with the Secretariat.
Thank you, Charles. Viewers, we're going to take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we want you to be part of this discussion. And of course, Fred here will walk us through some of the achievements beyond Maracha, of course, that they've been able to get in this project. And then we'll get to hear from you for your questions, comments, or suggestions after this break. Welcome back, viewers. It's again the Business X-Ray Show, and today we're looking at really the dynamics that are involved in, one, starting an association, running it, and delivering it, you know, to a business vision, mission, goal. And in the studio, of course, even before that, we had a video from Maracha Farmers Association. They've traveled a very good journey from a small association. They've been able to tick quite a number of boxes, and today they run an input shop, they run a mill, and a couple of other businesses. They make seeds. And they're into poultry. And they're hatching. Poultry. Exactly. So in the studio today, of course, I have Charles from Enterprise Uganda, our resident coach. And then we have Mr. Fred Muhanguzi from Ministry of Agriculture. Of course, the ministry is running a program, a cluster-based program, which he has given a digest for. And today, they've been able to, you know, help quite a number of organizations or associations right from the grassroots. and they are somewhere. So, Fred, very quickly, what are some of those, okay, for starters, before we even go to the achievements or the boxes you've ticked so far, one would wonder why, for instance, you know, you want to support associations at a certain level and not another. And, I mean, why is that the case?
Okay, thank you very much. You realize that when you're weak, you lack the resources that should be a springboard to move you to another level. The understanding, the systems. For you to be able to work, you really need the systems.
Okay.
And the systems don't come with the weak. That's why we are saying these organizations, some are weak, strong, and up there. Even in our grading of organizations, we score them into grades, grade 1, 2, 3, up to 5. This is the assessments we've been doing with the. So you find that an organization that is grade 3 and above, it lacks particular things. Okay. It lacks systems. It lacks records. It has no assets. It has no. Even the account is weak. So even us, even for instance, take an example of the component of the grants we've been giving to farmers.
Yes.
We've been giving to farmers that have been existing for some time. Let's say 2 years. They have some systems. They have an account. They can really account for the resources.
So
and therefore doing so.
Sorry to cut you short, Fred. At this moment, viewers, I'm going to ask my producer to flash for you, you know, that number, the WhatsApp number, where you can send your questions and comments, you know, as we discuss this. You can go on.
So that means when you have the systems and you have additional funding, given the experience, now you can utilize the resource better and produce more. Okay. And therefore you are attractive to the rest of who are working in the community, the groups in the community. They come join you, you grow together, you become an entity that can be exposed to the outside world and therefore interact with the outside environment and be able to network here and there. If it's financial resources, the bank wants an organization that has grown. The buyer wants an organization that where he will pack and get as much produce as he wants. Even the dealer wants to reach and not move from, he wants to find an organized system. So
not to move all over the place.
So we must begin with, actually for us, we begin with bringing 2-3 people together. Okay. Because there is no, that means there is no system at all. There's no group at all. Then we bring the group together. We define the idea, the business idea that they are going to do. That is for the smaller entities. After defining their business idea, basic business plan, they have the constitutions, they register, the organizational setup, how they should meet, weekly savings, weekly meetings, social responsibility, managing records. And then when you have a small group that has successfully done those things, now we say you don't need to remain independent. Because there are things you will do as a smaller group, but there are things that you cannot do. So to harness this power of togetherness, this group should come with this group in the same enterprise that's doing the same enterprise. And therefore you come together and therefore you form a bigger entity. That means that this bigger entity has come with resources. The biggest resource in organizations is the membership. That's why you see we front organize some entities on the exchange, these exchanges where we sell shares.
Oh, okay, the stock exchange.
The stock exchange, where we share shares. We share shares because we appreciate that membership is key. 1,000 is different from what the 10,000 are able to bring in terms of capital.
The more the merrier.
The more the, yes. And therefore, this requires that an organization to be strong, it must have that strong membership. And therefore, strong membership means the strong systems.
I hear you.
And therefore, for us as a ministry and as ACDP, we know that when a service goes to an organized entity, a strong entity that has systems, it will just a system of managing assets is key. Asset management. We know that if we give you equipment, you will be able to manage
it and maintain it.
And maintain it. In addition to know how much it should process in what time and the projection of what should happen. And therefore, entities should, even us in our business and organization, you find you lack business planning, you hear it as, but an entity that has a business plan and it keeps updating it, visiting it, is an entity that is growing. And therefore, when it is growing, we require that we look out for such to grow those and have as many as we can. Okay. As of now, that's why you will find that in Kasese, in the Elgon, in the Southwest, Northeast, we have some entities that have grown, and therefore they are in the export market. They themselves as entities, they are there, they are exporting coffee, some are exporting maize beyond the cross borders, and many other things that these organizations, that farmers unions, farmers organizations doing this, but this requires that you must have where to start from.
I hear you.
And, yes.
Charles, do you want to add something?
Yes. Continuous intervention in enterprise development, whatever the title, it could be an association, could be a circle, could be a company limited by shares. Ultimately, the success will be defined to what extent the owners are separate from the entity. And for that to happen, you need systems, but systems that are functional. Functional systems that are monitored. After the monitoring, rewards and whatever for members and for secretariat come from ability to achieve the desired objectives and goals of the organization. We have many times ignored building existing entities because we think because they are already in the market, they can do it. To what extent is the thing in the market having systems that separate the owners from the entity? In other words, when there is now succession, there is no big deal about it. The system just says that these are the processes to follow for the next team to come in. And when you come in, this is where you take off from. Once you have that going on, you have created an entity of a legal nature, and it will survive all types of headwinds and challenges without you having to lose sleep.
Beautiful.
So we need to pay attention and invest in the longevity of these entities in our economy.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Fred, what are some of your achievements so far? Of course, like I said, beyond Maracha.
Largely, this was an input program, an input delivery program. So what we've scored is that we've been able to build a system of delivering inputs to the farmers. Though this has come with challenges, but we are improving the system from time to time. And where we are, we can say now we have a system that is ready to give these channels, these inputs, and the farmers receive them without this human interference we are talking about. And the system is appreciated. And even when the challenges are there, the farmers will tell you, those who are beneficial will tell you, we need to do what? We need to improve here and that for us to be able to get what we want. And through the system, we've had over 270 farmers receive inputs. They receive different types of inputs, the agrochemicals, the fertilizers, the tarpaulins for the post-harvest, and seed, many other, the package that we provide to the farmers. And this has come with, of course, capacity building. We've done the software bit of it, and we can proudly say in the districts where the ACDP is, it's different. You go to a district where there's no ACDP, you say, can you give me a database of farmer groups that are existing? They will run here and there. And then in the parish model, we are not going to have issues of, in those districts, we are not going to have issues of nano-groups, ghost groups and all that. So in districts where we are operating as ACDP, the groups are there in hundreds. And then we have these higher level organizations that are to guide these other small groups, where these are supposed to anchor and receive services, business linkages, financial linkages, markets, and all other business development services. So we have over 500 organizations that we have built capacity, and we've tried to put systems, and we are continuing to mentor them for the next 1 year, to mentor them to make sure that we have organizations that work. And the software will build the capacity of these district local governments, the commercial officers, the community development officers, and the district agriculture officers, their thinking is now business oriented. The business oriented, the mindset is changing. It can't change at a go, but we are continually building a foundation that we move away from the traditional extension system where we are talking about seed plant here, the whole should be this size and all that, to the business drawing projections of where should we see, where should we move, and where should we market afterwards, and what should how should the benefits trickle down to the farmers. That is the first component. In the second component, we've given out grants worth $275 million. That is about 85 million to some of the farmer groups here, like the Maracha you were saying. And we've given out 200 so far, 259 groups. With just a few groups, like 2 groups that have not yet received their grant because of some other system challenges. But where they are, they co-fund. And the biggest I think benefit here, or lesson we are having here, is that whether grant, whether inputs, these farmers co-fund. 67% in inputs, 33% in inputs, 33% on the grant. When we give 200 of a grant, the farmers give 33% worth of that, which is about 66 million. So farmers appreciating, a group of farmers appreciating that they must mobilize 60 million in a community is not something that comes on the silver plate. Therefore, we can proudly say that we've opened the visions, the eyes of the farmer, the mind, to understand, to underscore that they cannot only remain on the receiving end. They need to work and put and own these facilities. So facilities are everywhere in all. It was on first come. We were giving these facilities based on the business plan, based on the assessment, and each district of those at least have 4 beneficiaries, and others have about 8 of them. So they are working, they are growing, and that also has come with the capacity building also in those organizations. Then we are also appreciating that as they work, there are challenges of weather shocks and all that. Within the program, we are promoting irrigation. We've done pre-feasibility studies where we think for future installation or construction of schemes, and we think future programs can take on these designs and be able to build them and benefit farmers. But we do smallholder irrigation systems. We've built the capacity of the ministry itself. I'm telling you, in the next 1 year, even now, our data systems have shaped up. If you want data in agriculture, anything you want to know about the agriculture, our systems are strong. The capacity at the district to collect the data and relay data and avail data is now strong. And that is where the ministry had been weak, but it has been strengthened, including inspection, making sure that whatever comes in the country is of quality, in terms of agrochemicals, in terms of foods that come within in the country. So the regulatory systems of the ministry,
I think that's very important,
have been strengthened by this project, the agriculture.
Very important, because recently, I think just this week, I was attending a meeting of horticulture exporters to the EU because of the stringent requirements for standards, sanitary standards and everything, or healthy standards for some of these products. I think it's now becoming a major concern. What kind of inputs are farmers actually using on things like vegetables and fruits and the like. So I think that comes in quite handy.
Yes, we are moving strong in that. And even after using all of these things, where do we deposit whatever we've used in terms of environmental concerns
at the end of the day?
At the
Charles,
end of the day.
Thank you, Fred. That's quite a journey indeed.
It is.
Charles, I have, of course, there's something that Dennis mentioned, which I want to combine with what one of our viewers is actually, raising and sending to us here. He mentioned the issue of leadership. When you're managing these groups, because if you see what Fred is trying to define,
correct.
This is not done by, you really have to be sober-minded and deliberate.
Correct.
to actually be able to
Very
you know,
true.
embrace this and be able to deliver along
Very
the
true.
lines. I don't know what you can speak about leadership and associations,
Very important.
especially farmers.
Whenever you hear the word leadership, the immediate thing you must have in mind is long-term view. And associations deliver on long-term view. This grouping we're doing to the community, never deceive them that today they are members of an association and then the next day they are receiving some cash through a circle and they have received the opportunity to succeed. If you are receiving that money without capacity to utilize it well and improve your status, short term, you picked it, the next season you are having no resources. So leadership is that one bond or one code that will create that long-term view and tell members that it is tough right now, let's keep moving. There's a lot of ruggedness, a lot of inadequacy of resources right now. We can't even pay salaries, but let's keep moving. So leadership brings that hope that is associated with waiting for the results to come through in the long run, in the medium term. Two, leadership also will continue to tell members that, you know what, whatever we're doing here, I cannot guarantee to you that come 3, 4, 5 years, all will be okay, but it is all well intentioned. Let's keep going. Creating hope. Creating hope. And then obviously you will find that many members that tend to be associated with these entities, they want the reward now. If they don't get it now, the next day they are saying you are useless. And they want to go to another group, then another group, then another group. And we're going to see a lot of that in public programs. They quickly run here and say, here, I've already picked something small, but where else is another opportunity? Run there. When it comes to leadership, you tell people that we are going to pay the price. And that price is going to be paid by all of us. And as we do that, let us do it fully aware that we're into private sector. Private sector is about serving the needs of the buyer. If we cannot fix it right now, let's keep going. And that also brings an element which I wanted to just underscore given what we have seen from Maracha. When they started, they had a hope of getting into a certain commodity. They discovered that commodity needed more money. Leadership will now say, okay, here we can't do it. Can we go for, say, a low-hanging fruit? Which one did they see? Vaccination of chicken. Get a little vaccines, start selling this thing at 100 shillings, and you start getting money. So that ability to say that although ultimately we want to be value-adding group on cassava, right now we can go with vaccination of what? Chicken. Right now we can go with planting and selling of seedlings. Because there is some environmental program that might enable us to sell our seedlings. So leadership sits at the center of the continuity and cohesiveness of our group.
So just moving on to some of the comments of our viewers. I have Alphonse Tugume, is from Uganda. He's saying, good afternoon, sir. Really, I do love the show. I do believe that any project needs supervision, and this is given by supervisors. Therefore, the project needs good governance with good managerial skills as well. The project to succeed, there must be a serious BOD, that's the board of directors. And I think he concurs with what we are saying.
Correct.
And he's signing out with the word cut the rope.
That is the slogan at the training at Enterprise Uganda. Cut the rope really means cut out all excuses.
Yes.
This journey is cut out for you. There's no saying there's something missing. Go for it and fight in the middle of the heat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, Fred, going forward, what should our people expect? What should the farmers, the associations, the people, one, you're supporting, and those that are intending or planning to actually join on board, what should they expect from the ministry in regards to this particular project?
In regards to this project,
yes,
is that we continue to provide what we've been providing, but in a better way, in an improved way, given the lessons we've gathered. The challenge we had in the past is a system. We had our system being new, being piloted, and under pilots, it has been unstable in some cases. And being unstable means that farmers had some that had made their contributions, and therefore in one way or another they missed out getting the inputs even when the season was on. And therefore here we want to give hope to our farmers that we've tried to circumvent these challenges, and therefore we have a system now that we rely on. And therefore this is being provided by MCash, our new provider, and the season is on. I implore farmers to register, to make their contributions, and they will redeem their inputs now that the rains have started. Therefore they should prepare gardens and start redeeming. And for any challenge they should come. We have systems, grievance redress systems in all the groups, in all the districts, in the leadership. We should be able to get these challenges, those constraints in real time. Beautiful. And be able to work. Beautiful. So and then any fraudsters or any farmers that still think that they can beat the system, let them now support the system, let them now behave and be able to work with us. And then we continue.
Yes, sorry, I have a number of questions for you here coming in. Yes. I have Derek Matov, he's from Chotera. He's saying, is the program running in Chotera? And also, do you offer teams that go out to do sensitization as regards formation of association in case we are to try and organize groups? Yes,
I would say we have built the capacity of the district local governments. And therefore, I refer him to the district of Chotera, district local government of Chotera, the district agriculture officer, Mr. Winga Godfrey. He goes and contacts him. He will avail him the capacity. We have trainers there. They will guide him. Question. Yes.
Beautiful. Charles, I have someone here is saying, I have an agriculture farm in Maracha, Okokoro. Is it possible to seek your help for training in generating business ideas at affordable cost?
Yes, as an institution, we offer our training solutions across the country. When we're in the West Nile region, and specifically in the Marach area, we shall be able to publicize that information. And I'm hoping that in the course of next year, we should be in that area. Yes.
That's beautiful. Then I have someone here from Rakai. They're saying, do you pay special attention to particular groups like women and youth in this project?
That's true. Yes, we do. We ensure that we promote, we create awareness.
Yes.
And promote that for each group, at least 30% should be women. 20% should be youth. And we've actually come to appreciate that actually in the majority of the groups you find even women outnumbering men. So it is around there, 45 women, 55 men, but the youth are usually about there, 19%. That is in the design.
Okay, someone is saying, good topic and timely in the challenging situation. However, how have you handled the aspect of agriculture insurance scheme given the vulnerability? This is David from Mukono.
Okay, thank you very much. Derek from Mukono.
David.
Unfortunately, we are not in Mukono, but within the project, within the agricultural cluster development project, we are promoting the idea of productive alliances. Under productive alliances, that is where we have different entities that are supposed to provide the service to a farmer, coming together to make sure that all of the gaps are fixed, are normal gaps. When it comes to financial institutions, we are working with financial institutions. When we come to insurance, we are working with the Agro Consortium of Uganda. That is a consortium of about 10 insurance companies, but with support from the government of Uganda, Ministry of Finance. And therefore, we've been moving together, promoting, trying to sensitize farmers about this particular product. And as we talk, the Agro Consortium, even without the agricultural cluster development project, is available. It goes to even non-SDG projects. They are working with the farmers, tailoring the products that they have to the farmers. Even within the project, we are moving in with the Agro Consortium, telling farmers about the product and encouraging them to pay to meet the requirements, and they work with them, and it has started.
Beautiful.
And this is something we want to continue promoting.
Beautiful, beautiful. Charles, Dennis is so much on. He has watched the show and he has sent his pointers here, in addition to what he submitted. He's saying, I'm Dennis from Maracha. Dennis is the viewers, the gentleman that we have in our montage. He's saying the outcomes from the group contribution must be communicated to them timely, in a timely fashion, as among the things that you need to know
you work
when you're doing to make the group work. He's saying integrity of board members must be also. He's saying checked, but I think he's talking about it has to be upheld at all time.
Yeah.
Then staff in secretariat must go through background check before recruitment.
Very important.
Entrepreneurial culture needs to be put in group members.
That's true. Right.
I'm Dennis, the coordinator of Maracha Farmers Association.
I'm so glad that Dennis, you could come on air. He was indisposed. He fell ill before he could board his transport and come here. But Dennis, thank you for your input, because whatever you have said in there, they go in to bolster the things we talked about. If you have a board, it's not just about human beings, the quality of the human beings. If you have got a secretariat, how did you bring it in? And you have targets for it. So these elements that is underscoring are key. And now if you have got members, we just say, you know what, we are members, we paid our subscription, and they are doing nothing entrepreneurial. There's no productivity. It's useless. So the three must work at optimum. The board must be at its best. The secretariat must play the game of linking the board and then these members here. If these three are all doing their best, what a beautiful association.
Beautiful, beautiful. Charles, wrap this up for us.
Associations are great. To achieve the greatness that is embedded in associations, you've got to pay the price. Build a good board. Build a good secretariat. Work on the members. If this come on board, you have something that will play the game of the private sector and play it long term.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
In a minute, what do you say, Fred, to our viewers?
In a minute, I want to appreciate those organizations that have already appreciated, have had a mindset moving, that they need to have systems, and not only systems that serve their selfish interests, but systems that are to serve their members. And therefore, when we have these systems and appreciating that you need to network with the key and therefore take your route into different key stakeholders that are there to provide the service, provide the resource that is supposed to make you grow. Then once you have underscored that, then you are ready to grow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Fred, and thank you, Charles. Viewers, that's all the time we had for this afternoon. I'm sure we've picked very key lessons here. I've been your host, Charles Boji. Until next time, have a good evening. God bless.